Hello guys, what is going on? I'm Nazar. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be reviewing the highly anticipated Going Down Swinging Conclusion, aka issue 800 of the Amazing Spider-Man. It cost me £8, £10 dollars like US, but I just have to apologize because I've said it in a couple of videos. Now, I don't think I actually said it in a Spider-Man video. Okay, it wouldn't make sense for me to say it in a Spider-Man video because I didn't know the release date of this one until about a couple of weeks ago, and it's been over a month since the last issue. But I was saying, oh, it's just focusing on the new Spider-Man run. That's why it's taking so long to get this Amazing Spider-Man issue out. I don't know why I thought that because Amazing Spider-Man is so much bigger than any Marvel comic, but also Iron Man. So I don't know why I thought that, but yeah, it's got 80 pages. It's got 4 chapters as well as a conclusion and also a bonus chapter at the end. So that's pretty cool. It's got an inker color design and something else on each chapter. So there's 3 people working on each individual chapter. So that's over 12 people working on just one issue. And to do that in under 2 months is actually pretty special, pretty well done actually. But yeah, anyway, let's go on to the actual issue. So the first thing that I really liked is because at this moment in time, when we're in a transitional period in between sort of the Marvel Legacy stuff going into the newly rebooted stuff, which you could say is part of the Marvel Legacy era, but is going to a new numbering system. And with that, the timelines are sort of messed up because they're wanting to get the bigger titles off the ground and running first. But the bigger titles include the team up stuff such as Avengers. But when you got Avengers and then you've got characters such as Iron Man, which in their own series haven't come back yet, to to the world and be known, and then so they're not quite back yet. People don't know that they're alive. This is specifically to do with Iron Man. But in the Avengers, he's already been teaming up with them for 2 issues, so that's 2 weeks. He's going on a month now, from when Invincible Iron Man 600 came out, and to him only just come back. Like all the timelines are a bit messed up, but with this, he actually mentioned what the Avengers are doing, which coincides with what's actually going on in the Avengers run right now, which like the in space fighting and stuff like that. Some of them are. So yeah, that was nice just to have some reassurance about the timeline right now. That was really good. It didn't make. Moving on to like the actual story, some of it, I had a few gripes with this issue. I mean, it was overall very good, but I had a few gripes. For example, it didn't make sense for the Brock character, even knowing the stakes, and even from the first issue of Venom, where the characters changed slightly, for him to just willingly give up the symbiote seemed a bit odd because 10 issues, if we go back just 10 issues, not even that long ago, like 3 months ago, um, well, no, about 5 months ago actually, he was so unwilling, he was so addicted and driven towards the symbiote. He needed it to survive, essentially, not just physically but also mentally. For him, and it was his one thing as his character. He needed that symbiote, and he was going to kill for it. And to just give it up so easily, it just didn't seem right for Brock to do so. He was just so obsessed with it; it just didn't make sense. But it was good for the story. And also we have, like I said, we have had some growth in the characters, some developments, and some changes in the Venom run, which I haven't done a review of yet. I'm probably gonna do just a quick review before I review Venom issue 2. It's just that I wasn't a bit, I couldn't get the comic and review it at the time it came out. I was away, so that's the reason why that has happened. Um, I liked, because of the 80 pages, like I've already said, they had a lot more time to do some really cool groundwork, framework, for stories in the future. Because right now, I just thought it was good for the Red Goblin character to have like pages upon pages about very specifically about the Osborn family. Especially since, for me, I jumped on at issue 789. I've read a few in the past. I've read a few trades, but I haven't been following the story completely. Like I've only got a few experiences with some trades back when they coincided with events such as Infinity Gauntlet, Civil War, stuff like that. So I've never actually followed the Amazing Spider-Man storyline completely. So when I'm starting on 789, and we've got a few pages here and there about the Osborn family, I'm kind of a bit confused. But then when we got this, like, it was 10 plus pages of of the Osborn family, I thought that was really, really good for someone like me, and I assume for other readers as well that maybe don't read all the time when it comes to Spider-Man. I haven't read every single issue, just to get a bit of catch up and really get some like meaning behind what's happening. And it really, really helped the Red Goblin villain. So that was good. But there was something that wasn't too good with that whole thing in the same scene, essentially, within the same few pages. The Goblin Child, I assume that's how you pronounce it, child, even though it's got an E at the end. The Goblin Child turn on Red Goblin was very, very predictable because, I mean, it was very predictable, but the pacing was great because you got like little inklings of like, wait a second, like he was sort of like coming out of his brainwashed state, of like, oh, like being controlled partially or influenced, should I say, by the Carnage symbiote. Like he was slowly coming out of that sort of state every time like his original consciousness took over through shock or like other strong emotions, driven by what Red Goblin was doing to his family. So that the pacing was cool, but it was very, very predictable. But I sort of like ate my words when it came at the end, when because of the tease with future Goblin Child stuff in the, so that's right, really cool. Not only is it a tease because they've stored the Carnage symbiote may have traces of goblins, the goblin DNA in there. But just a symbiote on its own, like with Harry Osborn and stuff like that, there could be something like that in the future. Obviously, it's going to be stolen because otherwise they wouldn't store it. They wouldn't say that they've stored it if it wasn't going to be something in the future. But obviously, just Goblin Child having the Carnage symbiote bit, like a bit of it still in him because you can see it in his eyes at the end. That's obviously something that's going to happen in the future. I don't think it'll happen straight away. I think there'll be a story arc or two before we get that again, just because this has been such a big arc and it's been so long as well. Because this one took a month and a half, I think, around about a month and a half to come out. So it's been 3 or 4 months since Going Down Swinging actually started. And even before that, we were getting Red Goblin teasers and bits of Norman Osborn. So it's been going on for a while now. So I like to think that it'd take a bit of a break. Now coming on to a few of my gripes, which I mean that was also a bit of a gripe, but I understand why they did it. I mean it's 80 pages, you don't really want to drag it on for too long, or blow your load too early when it comes to doing some shock value stuff with the Goblin Child and like betraying his family or something like that. But I'll talk about shock value again in a minute, which I think should have happened because I think that follow would have been really cool. But first of all, I'm just gonna say that when you have a comic such as Spider-Man, I understand that one of the main sort of weaknesses that the character has, and a lot of superheroes have, is the teamwork aspect when they're not in a team up setting. For example, when they're not in the Avengers, when they're just having their own run. It's like superheroes such as Miles Morales, Silk, these are capable superheroes, but Spider-Man won't let them help. And occasionally when he does let them help, he's actually showing growth in the character. His fears come true. And they almost came completely true when he thought that they were all going to die. But Anti-Venom saved them. But my point about this is that this is a personal opinion. He wasn't in this issue, and in the last issue technically, but the last issue seemed more logically right, but this issue seemed less so. He didn't seem like a good active protagonist. What that means is he didn't do the saving. It was very rare and only in tiny bits. And if you wanted to stretch what was the influence of his actions, you could say that he was directly involved in saving Aunt May, for example, even though to me he wasn't. That was Doc Ock, who's actually saved her. But him just showing up, he went there, which is an active protagonist sort of thing, but he didn't do the saving in almost any situation. Anti-Venom, Venom, um, even Mary Jane in certain scenarios, was in like certain beats of the. I mean, she obviously actually didn't end up saving herself. That was Venom and Spider-Man together, but Venom was the one that showed up there first, and it seemed like Spider-Man was a participant, not a participant, but sort of like a viewer of all these events. He just went around, and because we were following his perspective, he showed us what was going on. Because the Red Goblin stuff with Goblin Child, it was Goblin Child that actually stopped what was going on, not Spider-Man. You know, that happened throughout the whole entire chapter. That Spider-Man didn't actually do much of the saving, and so he was less of an active protagonist and more of a passive protagonist. And it made him feel, to me, it made him feel a bit weak, which I know also signifies a great writing for a villain. I mean, Red Goblin was very, very powerful, and that was cool. And the fact that Spider-Man needed help, that was cool as well, because like I said, it shows growth in the character. But it just felt like he was a very passive protagonist in this one, 100%. But moving on to someone that was a little less passive, it was obviously James Jonah Jameson. Sorry, I couldn't say that right for a second there. His arc throughout, not just this issue, but a bit of last issue as well, was a bit lackluster. I'm someone who would have loved to see him pull that trigger and to kill Goblin. That would have been amazing, because we could have seen a new side to a character that is so cut and dry, been the same for 60 years. It would have been so good to see what became of that character. He was guilt ridden, and that drove his every move. He put himself in harm's way, and he ran into like this battlefield on New York where fire's blazing. This symbiote, Spider-Man, Anti-Venom just died, who's incredibly powerful, and sort of the direct counter to Red Goblin, even he died, which I don't think yet is actually dead because of obviously the healing factors with Anti-Venom, stuff like that. That's obvious, but the fact that he got there and he pulled the trigger, he actually pulled the trigger. I would have liked of him to shoot Goblin and not Spider-Man, but obviously that for Spider-Man not to jump in the way, that would be that would be bad for the character. I just wanted to see what would have happened if that was the case. For me, that would have been personally really cool. Moving on to the final parts now of the issue. It's been a long review. I don't really do reviews this long, but like I said, it's 80 pages, so there's a lot to get through. The art style at the shift was at the end was very good. I mean, like I said, there was a bunch of different artists on each chapter, so each chapter was slightly different, even though the first, the first four, it was roughly the same. If I didn't know, if I didn't know they were done by different artists, apart from the last bit, like the memorial stuff with for Anti-Venom, I wouldn't have known. But for the last one I would have, because it was very different, and it was very nostalgic as well. It did remind me of those old trades that I used to read for Amazing Spider-Man, that sort of art style, which was really good. It was sort of like like a salute, I guess, to the because it is an anniversary, I guess. After the credits, there is a couple of bonus pages. Now, obviously it's got something to do with a Superior Spider-Man run, potentially, or even Superior Spider-Man, in the Amazing Spider-Man run coming up, because the Amazing Spider-Man number system is going to restart to number 1 very shortly. It's going to happen in July, I think, but also in June, there is going to be another. I don't know why I talk about this now. I didn't finish my last thought. But it's going to, in like 3 weeks, there's going to be a final slot, dance slot issue. So that's going to be 801, which I thought it was going to stop at 800 and it's going to be a new number system. But that's going to happen in 3 weeks, and I think 2 weeks after, there is going to be the new run for Amazing Spider-Man with a new writer, which is going to be, it's going to definitely feel weird. I'm going to miss slot just due to the Red Goblin stuff. That was very cool. Even before that it was really really cool. Just the whole run in general. I actually because let me finish what I was saying before though with the bonus pages. I searched up because I don't really know too much about Superior Spider-Man. I searched up Elliot Tolliver or Tolliver, however you want to say it. I couldn't find him anywhere. Nowhere in the Marvel database. I might be being an idiot when I searched it up, but I could not find it anywhere. So either it's a new character or it's a descendant of a character. Who knows? But yeah, like I was saying, if you didn't see my Doctor Strange issue 390 review, I highly recommend you go watch it because it actually had a lot of Spider-Man stuff in it, and I think that they've sort of got like a back and forth, like Slott and Cates, because Donny Cates is also retiring as well from the Doctor Strange run, as are a lot of writers, as we go into this new numbering system and this sort of like soft reboot of the universe. By soft reboot, I mean it's just like a jumping on point for anybody new. But I found it really, really cool that they've also done a cover, like a Doctor Strange cover for Going Down Swinging Conclusion issue 800. That was really, really cool to see. Because the whole, if you don't know, what Donny Cates did in his final issue for Doctor Strange is he sort of did like a homage to Spider-Man. And that was really, really funny and also really cool in general. So yeah, that's going to be for now, guys. Really long review, probably the longest review I've done. No, I think I did a longer review of Infinity War, my spoiler review. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, I do a lot of I don't know why I did that. I do a lot of reviews on my channel, almost daily, probably on average daily, but not quite daily because stuff doesn't come out daily. Anyway, so yeah, if you like this sort of stuff, then make sure to subscribe. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully enjoyed, and I shall see you next one. Goodbye.